USS John C. Stennis is the seventh Nimitz-class nuclear-powered supercarrier in the United States Navy, named for Senator John C. Stennis of Mississippi. She was commissioned on 9 December 1995. Her home port is Bremerton, Washington. Mission and capabilities. The mission of John C. Stennis and her air wing is to conduct sustained combat air operations while forward deployed. The embarked air wing consists of 8 to 9 squadrons. Attached aircraft are Navy and Marine Corps FA-18 Hornet EA-6B Prowler MH-60R MH-60S and E-2C Hawkeye. The air wing can engage enemy aircraft, submarines, and land targets, or lay mines hundreds of miles from the ship. John C. Stennis's aircraft are used to conduct strikes, support land battles, protect the battle group or other friendly shipping, and implement a sea or air blockade. The air wing provides a visible presence to demonstrate American power and resolve in a crisis. The ship normally operates as the centerpiece of a carrier battle group commanded by a flag officer embarked upon John C. Stennis and consisting of 4 to 6 other ships. John C. Stennis's 2 nuclear reactors give her virtually unlimited range and endurance and a top speed in excess of 30 knots. The ship's 4 catapults and 4 arresting gear engines enable her to launch and recover aircraft rapidly and simultaneously. The ship carries approximately 3 million US gallons of fuel for her aircraft and escorts, and enough weapons and stores for extended operations without replenishment. John C. Stennis also has extensive repair capabilities, including a fully equipped aircraft intermediate maintenance department, a micro-miniature electronics repair shop, and numerous ship repair shops. For defense, in addition to her air wing and accompanying vessels, John C. Stennis has NATO RIM-7 Sea Sparrow and rolling airframe missile surface-to-air missile systems, the Phalanx close-in weapons system for cruise missile defense, and the SLQ-32 electronic warfare system. History. The nuclear-powered USS John C. Stennis was contracted on 29 March 1988, and the keel was laid on 13 March 1991 at Newport News Shipbuilding Company, Newport News, Virginia. The ship was christened on the 11th of November 1993, in honor of Senator John Cornelius Stennis, who served in the Senate from 1947 to 1989. The daughter of the ship's namesake, Mrs. Margaret Stennis Womble, was the ship's sponsor. John C. Stennis was commissioned on 9 December 1995 at Naval Station Norfolk, Virginia, and she conducted flight deck certification in January 1996. The first arrested landing was by VX-23 F-14B. The ship conducted numerous carrier qualifications and independent steaming exercises off the East Coast throughout the next 2 years. Included among these events was the first carrier landing of an FA-180F Super Hornet on 18 January 1997. 1998 World Cruise on 26 February 1998 with carrier Air Wing 7 embarked. John C. Stennis left Norfolk for her maiden deployment, transients the Suez Canal on 7 March and arriving in the Persian Gulf on 11 March 1998. The ship traveled 8,020 nanometers in 274 hours, an average speed of 29.4 knots to relieve USS George Washington in conducting Operation Southern Watch missions. John C. Stennis departed the Persian Gulf on 19 July 1998 for her new home port of Naval Air Station North Island in San Diego, California, arriving on 26 August 1998. In October 1998, she entered a 6-month maintenance and upgrade period at North Island. returning to sea in April 1999. During the maintenance period, a jet blast deflector collapsed, severely injuring 2 sailors. On the 30th of November 1999, the ship ran aground in a shallow area adjacent to the turning basin near North Island. Silt clogged the intake pipes to the steam condensing systems for the nuclear reactor plants, causing the carrier's 2 nuclear reactors to be shut down for a period of 45 minutes. She was towed back to her pier for maintenance and observation for the next 2 days. The cleanup cost was about $2 million. 2000 Persian Gulf, Pacific Ocean. On the 7th of January 2000, John C. Stennis deployed to the Persian Gulf to relieve USS John F. Kennedy in Operation Southern Watch. During the deployment, the ship made port visits to South Korea, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates and Australia, and Pearl Harbor, before returning to San Diego on the 3rd of July 2000. Following the September 11 attacks, John C. Stennis conducted Noble Eagle missions off the U.S. West Coast. In 2000 and 2001, John C. Stennis was part of Carrier Group 7. 2001 Persian Gulf. On the 12th of November 2001, 2 months earlier than scheduled, the ship left on her 3rd deployment to the U.S. 5th Fleet Area of Responsibility in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, returning to San Diego on the 28th of May 2002. From June 2002 to January 2003, JCS underwent a 7-month planned incremental availability. 2004 Pacific Ocean. From the 24th of May to the 1st of November 2004, John C. Stennis conducted her 4th major overseas deployment, participating in Exercise Northern Edge 2004 in the Gulf of Alaska, Rim of the Pacific Exercise off Hawaii, exercises with Kitty Hawk off Japan, and Goodwill visits to Japan, Malaysia and Western Australia. Shortly after returning from deployment to San Diego, JCS changed her home port to Naval Station Bremerton, Washington on the 19th of January 2005. Once at Bremerton, John C. Stennis underwent an 11-month docking planned incremental availability, the first time she had been dry docked since commissioning. Upgrades included a new mast. The new mast structure is the first of its kind. A new type of steel alloy was used, making it stiffer and thicker than before. The new mast is also heavier and taller, allowing it to support new antennae the old mast would not have been able to support. Other upgrades included the installation of a new integrated bridge system in the pilot house that will save manpower and provide state-of-the-art displays. Following the maintenance cycle and pre-deployment training exercises, the carrier returned to Bremerton, Washington, and the carrier was certified search-ready, meaning the ship maintained a high state of readiness in case of an unscheduled deployment. 2007 Persian Gulf. On the 20th of January 2007, the carrier and her group set sail for the Persian Gulf as part of an increase in U.S. military presence. John C. Stennis arrived in the area on the 19th of February 2007, joining us Dwight D. Eisenhower in the United States 5th Fleet Area of Operations. This marked the first time since 2003 that there were 2 aircraft carrier battle groups in the region simultaneously. On the 23rd of May 2007, John C. Stennis, along with 8 other warships, including the aircraft carrier Nimitz and amphibious assault ship Bonhomme Richard, passed through the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Navy officials said it was the largest such move since 2003. On the 31st of August 2007, John C. Stennis returned to Bremerton. 2009 Western Pacific John C. Stennis departed Bremerton for a 6-month deployment to the Western Pacific on 13 January 2009. On 24 April, the ship arrived in Singapore. That same day, one of the ship's sailors was crushed and killed while working from a small harbor boat to secure a drain that discharges oily water from the aircraft catapults. On 29 April, the ship's executive officer, Commander David L. Burnham, was relieved by Rear Admiral Mark A. Vance over unspecified personal conduct. Burnham was reassigned to a base in San Diego pending an investigation, after participating in exercises with Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force and the Republic of Korea, as well as Joint Exercise Northern Edge 2009. John C. Stennis returned from deployment in early July 2009. Carrier Air Wing 9 debarked on 6 July at Naas, North Island, prior to the ship's arrival at her home port of Bremerton on 10 July, 2010-2011. On 30 March 2011, a VMF AT-101 FA-18C Hornet suffered an uncontained catastrophic engine failure, exploded and caught fire just before launch from John C. Stennis about 100 miles off the coast of San Diego during launch and recovery training operations. The aircraft was at full power, in tension on the catapult when the accident occurred. 11 flight deck crewmen were injured while the pilot was unhurt. There was no major damage to the carrier, but the aircraft was a total loss. On 18 December 2011, the final command and control mission for U.S. forces over Iraq was flown by an E-2C Hawkeye from Carrier Airborne Early Warning Squadron 112, catapulting off the carrier John C. Stennis at 7:32 a.m. and returning at 11:04 a.m. both local time. This mission effectively ended U.S. naval support for Operation New Dawn. On 3 January 2012, Iranian General Ayatollah Ali warned John C. Stennis not to return to the Persian Gulf. The United States dismissed the warning. On 7 January, John C. Stennis led the rescue of an Iranian-flagged fishing vessel, Al-Malahi, following its seizure by pirates. The pirates ambushed the ship and Iranian flagged to search for other ships to hijack, while holding the original crew hostage. When some of the pirates attempted to board a Bahamian-flagged cargo ship, Sunshine, it radioed for assistance. John C. Stennis dispatched a helicopter and cruiser to assist. A boarding party captured the pirates who attacked Sunshine, fed them, then released them temporarily. A helicopter then secretly followed the pirates back to the mothership Al-Malahi. Crew from the destroyer Uskid then boarded the fishing vessel and arrested all of the pirates with no casualties. On 2 March 2012, John C. Stennis returned home from its 7-month deployment to home port Bremerton, Washington. On 7 July 2012, crew members were informed that John C. Stennis would be returning to the Middle East in August, much sooner than expected. On 27 August 2012, John C. Stennis departed to the Middle East originally for 6 months, but was extended to 8. On 1 April 2013, the ship arrived at Changi Naval Base in Singapore. Local ITE students were invited for a guided tour inside the aircraft carrier. Following that, the ship sailed to Pearl Harbor, where it performed a week-long Tiger cruise to San Diego at 12:45 on 3 May 2013. John C. Stennis arrived at its home port of Naval Base Kitsap in Bremerton, Washington, the completion of an 8-month, 66,000 miles deployment to the the western Pacific Ocean. During this deployment, squadron aircraft flew more than 1,300 sorties from the carrier's deck in the war in Afghanistan. In mid-January 2015, John C. Stennis departed its home port of Naval Base Kitsap in Bremerton, Washington, and arrived at Naval Magazine, Indian Island to load munitions prior to departing for San Diego to receive aircraft and another 2,000 sailors. On the 1st of September, the carrier arrived back at Bremerton, Washington. On the 15th of January 2016, John C. Stennis left Naval Base Kitsap for a scheduled deployment to the Western Pacific. On the 19th of April, she arrived to Singapore for a regularly scheduled port visit after completing an annual bilateral training exercise in the Philippines. On the 26th of April 2016, China denied John C. Stennis permission to make a port visit to Hong Kong as well as its escort ships. On the 10th of August, the carrier arrived back at San Diego, California. John C. Stennis Carrier Strike Group. The John C. Stennis Strike Group is equipped and trained to work as a forward deployed force, providing a deterrent force as well as serving to protect U.S. interests abroad. John C. Stennis is the flagship of the Strike Group and hosts the group's air wing carrier Air Wing 9. John C. Stennis is also home to the commander of Destroyer Squadron 21. Ships of DESRON 21 US Dewey, US Changhoon, US Kidd, US Milius, US Stockdale, US Wayne D. Meyer, US William P. Lawrence. Other elements of JCS Battle Group: US Mobile Bay, US Antietam, USNS Bridge, squadrons of CVW-9 Strike Fighter Squadron 14 Towfighter, Strike Fighter Squadron 41 Black Aces, Strike Fighter Squadron 97 Warhawks, Strike Fighter Squadron 151 Vigilantes, Electronic Attack Squadron 133 Wizards, Carrier Airborne Early Warning Squadron 112 Golden Hawks, Helicopter Sea Combat Squadron 14 Charges, Helicopter Maritime Strike Squadron 71 Raptors, Fleet Logistics Support Squadron 30 Detachment 4 Providers, Ship Seal. John C. Stennis's seal was produced from the combined efforts of several crew members with historical help from Stennis Center for Public Service, John C. Stennis Space Center, and United States Senate historian. The seal implies peace through strength, just as Senator John C. Stennis was referred to as an unwavering advocate of peace through strength by President Ronald Reagan. When the ship's name was announced in June 1988, the circular shape signifies the Nimitz-class aircraft carrier's unique capability to circle the world without refueling while providing a forward presence from the sea. The predominant colors are red, white, blue, and gold, the same as those of the United States and the Navy. The outer border, taken from one version of a U.S. Senate crest, represents the strength through unity of the ship's crew. The 4 gold bands and 8 ties denote John C. Stennis' 4 decades in the Senate and the 8 presidents he served with, from President Truman to President Reagan. The 7 stars in the blue border represent his 7 terms in the Senate and characterize John C. Stennis as the 7th Nimitz-class aircraft carrier. The red and white stripes inside the blue border represent the American flag and the American people John C. Stennis serves. They also honored the courage and sacrifice of the United States' armed forces. The eagle and shield is a representation of the gilt eagle and shield overlooking the old Senate chamber. The shield represents the United States of America. The 20 stars represent the U.S.'s 20th state, Mississippi, the home of John C. Stennis. The three arrows in the eagle's talons symbolize the ship's and air wings' ability to project power. The burst of light emanating from the shield, representative of the emergence of a new nation in the United States Senate seal, portrays the birth of over 25 major naval aviation programs under Senator Stennis' leadership, including all aircraft carriers from US Forrestal to US Harry Truman, and aircraft from the F-4 Phantom to the F/A-18 Hornet. The eagle is representative of John C. Stennis' stature in the Senate, where he was respected and admired as a soaring eagle by some of his colleagues. The ship herself is pictured in the seal. On the edges of the flight deck are the words honor, courage, commitment, which are the United States Navy's core values. The seal, after selection by the ship's crew, was submitted to Mrs. Margaret Stennis Womble, the ship's sponsor and daughter of Senator Stennis, and to Mrs. John Hampton Stennis, the matron of honor and wife of Senator Stennis' son, for their approval. In February 1995 they approved the design.